After I leave the platform, I get a call from Senator Burgess informing me about a raid that's about to go down and to get to a certain designated location to meet with the team that's carrying it out. I hop on a plane and within the next couple of hours reach the designated location. As I'm gearing up, I'm told by one of my colleagues that the deputy director has been indicted but is eluding authorities. I'm also told the subject of the mission is the home of the billionaire banker John Caesarson. We have information that he's the head of project in the film after Harold Johnson's departure. The confirmation comes back from the federal judge signing off on the warrant and we head out. After a short ride, we reach the gates of the billionaire's immaculate estate. There's a guard post in front of it. The warrant is showed to him and he is detained. About 20 or so federal agents, all dressed in tactical gear and helmets with assault rifles and shotguns, storm the home. We enter the mansion and begin our search of the residence. Through a hallway, beyond a series of doors, we enter a room filled with what appears to be an estimated net worth of an unfathomable amount in the form of bankers, politicians, corporate executives, a famous television evangelist, a supreme justice, and a five-star general. They're all chanting something in Latin, surrounding an altar with Nikki on top of it, crying and covered in what looks like blood. I now notice they're all holding forks and plates, except for the five-star general. He's pressing buttons on a handheld console. The screen displays images of what looks like a missile hitting a group of Middle Easterners walking through the desert with a camel. The general yells, "That's 50 points, you goddamn towelheads." At the altar, a mysterious figure appears wearing a goat's head over his own, holding a huge dagger in front of Nikki. I yell, "Freeze, FBI!" But he resists and begins to bring down the dagger towards Nikki. In a moment of reptilian fight-or-flight instinct, I pull the trigger on my assault rifle and drop the goat-headed perp right where he stands. Another agent walks up to him and takes off the goat's head, revealing the perp's identity. It's the deputy director. As I look around, I notice there's no sign of Caesarson, so I have a couple of the agents come with me to the upstairs of the residence in search of that foul pig of a man. Up a winding staircase and into a master bedroom sits the 92-year-old billionaire hooked up to an IV that's filled with a red substance with the label on the bag reading adrenochrome. As we get closer, I notice the sick bastard has his penis in his hand, repeatedly stroking it, watching a video of a nude underage girl with his eyes looking like they're about to pop out of his head. Old man or not, this bastard needs to be stopped. So without even realizing to the extent of my actions, I rip the IV out of his arm and he starts screaming like a madman about his medicine. Within seconds, he begins to seizure out and expels blood from his mouth, eventually falling over dead. All I can hope for now is that image doesn't stay stuck in my head and continue to play on repeat in some reoccurring subconscious nightmare. As Caesarson lay dead on the floor, I said a prayer over his decrepit corpse. See you in hell, Caesarson. You lived your depraved days on earth in luxury, but in the midst of your madness, you left the earth to have your soul consumed by the flames of eternal damnation. Ashes to ashes and dust to dust. Outside of the residence, I can't help but feel sick to my stomach, but also relieved as I watch all of these so-called patriots' good fortune run out and under arrest. Then I see Nikki in the back of an ambulance and rush over to her. "Thanks, Charlie. I told you I was your guardian angel." She just smiles as the EMTs close the doors to the ambulance and depart. Little does she know she was only seconds away from becoming dinner to these goddamn vampires. Next, I pull out my phone, call Senator Burgess, and inform him on what just transpired. He tells me some disturbing facts that will make Jeffrey Dahmer eat his heart out about the ones under arrest. It seems that before this raid went down, a warehouse with a bunch of abducted children and human adrenal glands pickled in jars was discovered, and it's linked to Caesarson and the others. I don't even want to know any more details, but I know the adrenal glands have to do with the adrenochrome. And later I would come to find out the warehouse was the base for an underground sex trafficking ring and another harvesting facility for the Nephilim, with all of the culprits at the scene involved. These bastards are sick, but I never thought it was this bad. Well, for what it's worth, I think that today we prevailed, and for once justice was served. That justice being those sickos spending the next however many years living in some facility housed with a bunch of sociopaths with names like Snake and 8-Ball and forced to pay for protection with commodities like ramen noodles and honey buns. The lavish lifestyles they once lived will cease to exist, and now they'll have to settle for bad cuisine, group showers, and of course, the occasional gang rape of their sweet cheeks. Now the scene changes. This is the last scene on the first part of the story. On the front page of today's newspaper, numerous members of the upper echelon of society, such as a billionaire banker, corporate executives, politicians, a Supreme Justice, a famous television evangelist, a five-star general, and the deputy director of the FBI, after being shot, are indicted and in custody on charges ranging from crimes against humanity, kidnapping, misappropriation of government funds, murder and attempted murder, taking bribes, and a string of serial assault charges against minors. It has pictures of all of them with a brief description of who they are, but the article says nothing about harboring aliens or creating a hybrid race. No, our government would never expose that kind of information to the public. As I finish reading the article, I throw the newspaper into the trash and continue to walk to Dr. Thomas Winston's headstone. Once I reach it, I notice inscribed on it the words, Dr. Thomas Winston, 1948 to 2022. Life is just a series of bowel movements and flagellants. Standing in silence, I open my flask and pour some scotch onto the grass in front of the tombstone. I will miss you, my friend. A tear begins to run down my face. I will regret what happened to you until the day I die. I just wanted you to know that I did what I did because I thought it was in the best interest of the cause. I take a sip from the flask and just meditate on all of the insanity that has happened since my descent into the abyss of Project Nephilim, and intuitively realize something I believe the professor was trying to tell me for years. On this journey we call life, after everything that happens, I can unequivocally say that all we really are during this process is a small particle of fecal matter trapped on a big ball of excrement moving through the bowels of the universe's intestines, waiting to be shit out and released from this foul rectal prison. What happens after we're shit out, that's something I can't say, not just because of its highly classified nature, but because I honestly don't know. We live and we suffer, and most of the time through the suffering, we have our heads jammed right up our own asses. So I guess all in all, life is just a shitty situation. The only other thing I can say about it is try not to get too covered in the fecal matter as you're moving through the bowels, because until our dying day, we are really just stuck in one big asshole.